Hello and thank you for watching. My name is Heather Alexandra, and I'm here to talk critically about games. I'm not convinced that any of the Shock games have been all too brilliant. Each time I return to them, I find them more and more ridiculous. The early titles buckle under the weight of over-ambitious systems, and the latter titles, particularly Bioshock Infinite, can't deliver any coherent narrative or thematic statements. But every time I play them, I am completely enthralled. The System Shock and Bioshock series contain some of the most impressive and lovingly created worlds I've ever encountered. Remakes and remasters are very much in the vogue right now. Games are operating on peak nostalgia. When Night Dive launched their Kickstarter for a System Shock remake, I wasn't particularly surprised. What actually did surprise me was how quickly they produced a demo for their project. It provided a great opportunity to answer some questions. Was the original worth revisiting? Would this project capture what it meant to be a Shock game? I wanted to find out, but first I needed to answer a question. What the hell was System Shock? Like, what was it? What was the thing that made it so singular? I don't think we have a good collective memory of that. To explain what I mean, and to get some answers to those questions, I'm going to examine a specific moment in 3 games and in the demo. Killing your first human enemy. Mutant, Splicer, City Guard, it doesn't matter what, I'm going to break it down. This is the original System Shock. I wake up and grab some things. I get a quick exposition dump for context, and then I'm off. I fight a few robots, I dig around to get my first door code, I do a hacking minigame. Finally, I make my way through this maze, and bam, there's a mutant. No warning, no fanfare, just turning the corner and finding myself face to face with a scary monster dude. Hold tight to this moment, and remember that this is how System Shock worked. Directly, bluntly, and without affectation. Let's skip to Bioshock. I swim to the lighthouse and get in this bathysphere. I am then treated to a speech from Andrew Ryan as I descend into the water. I get my first look at Rapture. This moment, by the way, is absolutely gorgeous, and it gives me chills every time. I arrive in Rapture, and I watch as a splicer kills some dude very dramatically. I've gone minutes in this game without moving, without ever needing to touch my controller. Finally, Atlas calls me and I can proceed into the city. We see the splicer again, and it's a huge deal. It's a big enough deal that Atlas chases it away with a drone. I'm being tutorialized the entire time. Finally, after I get all my political rhetoric, grand vistas, and tutorial hints, I fight the splicer. Combat itself is fast. A few whacks with the wrench and I've killed my first splicer. So, Bioshock is definitely more interested in itself and its fiction, but when I get to the actual gameplay, it's just as sudden as System Shock. Here is Bioshock Infinite. I do a ton of stuff at this lighthouse, and then I fly into the clouds, and I get my big vista moment when I break through and I see Columbia. The game then shoves the idea of theocracy down my throat. It shoves the idea of American exceptionalism and founding father deification down my throat. It shoves quantum physics down my throat. It shoves racism down my throat. And then I kill my first enemy in a cutscene, which then launches into a big fight sequence with waves and waves of enemies. It's busy, and it tries way too hard to impress me with 101 level takes on complex ideas that it cannot properly discuss. Bioshock Infinite wants to be a game about games. It wants to say things to me, and it's just not good at saying things because it can't handle those topics with any type of nuance. And it's so afraid. It's so afraid that I'll ruin the moment, that I'll interject and ruin what it has planned for me, that it will act out the big moments for me. I don't get to have my own experience with this game. The game curates and dictates what occurs. So, keeping all that in mind, here's the demo. I wake up and grab my things. I get that same exposition dump that I got in the original. I smash some robots. I reach the door and see some crazy blood graffiti on the wall that has the door code. I open the door and, oh my gosh, monster! They lurch towards me and I bash their head in. It's a bit more composed, but it's still very simple. Because that's what System Shock was. It was unceremonious. It was sudden and confident enough in what it was doing that it didn't try to guide me too much. Bioshock, and especially Bioshock Infinite, were games that explicitly wanted to say something. They are games about ideas first and places second. Bioshock wants to talk about objectivism and make sure that you endure Andrew Ryan's rantings. Infinite wants to talk about populism and theocracy and video games as art, and it gives you Zachary Comstock and the Vox and all sorts of things. But what is System Shock about? It's about a place first. It's about Citadel Station. It's about a strange future that's hit a breaking point. Robots and AI and mutants. Shodan is one of the most famous villains in game history, but the game doesn't use her as a gateway to talk ideology. She's a rogue AI, technology gone rampant, a manifestation of the primal fear of creations outpacing creators. Bioshock was a rhetorical game. System Shock is not a rhetorical game. It doesn't say much, it just does things. The demo understands this. It takes the initial game and tries to add additional weight. It adds a bigger wind-up to your pipe's melee swing, obsessively shows your character examining new objects, and stresses the danger and power of energy recharge stations. Because a shock game, as expressed by the original, is about putting you in a space. Night Dive seems to, at least, understand this, although I'd be remiss if I didn't note that this demo is an alpha build of a game that might not even get funded. The care is clear, however. The alterations in the demo stress the game space. They add enemies to make it feel more hostile. They add a vista to show scale, but never force you to look at it. I'm always in control, and the space is always at my disposal. It's not quite the same simple elegance that the original had, but we're heading in a good direction. With luck, this remaster won't modernize too much. Modern shock games seem so full of themselves. They really are. And the best possible result for this demo, and for this project, is to keep things humble. To avoid trying to impress me too much, and instead, just let me inhabit the world.